Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the brand new 2021 Seat Ateca. I'm here to show you around this car, a bit of practicality, the driving experience, and obviously the exterior styling. I have a small audience of horses now who have decided to randomly turn up. They are obviously very interested in the new Ateca as well. Now, the pre-facelifted version of the car has won Best Used SUV of the Year, so I'm expecting this to be very, very good. Let's have a look around the styling first of all. We'll start, well, as I'm standing at the front of the vehicle. So we've got brand new LED headlights, LED running lights, and the indicator actually flashes on inside of there. Looks really smart. LED fog lights as well. This being the Excellence model as well, we've got more aluminium trim than you'd find on other models. So we've got aluminium rounds here, we've got these accents on there, and lower down, obviously, even more silver coloured. This here is actually the sensor for the active cruise control, so it's a radar. We'll have a look at that a bit later on. So heading on round the side, this particular model as standard comes with 18-inch alloys. You can go up to 19s if you wanted to. The only thing is it would affect the ride quality ever so slightly. So going down the side, we can see a very strong swage line right from this front light all the way down the side. It's not surprising really, it's quite a boxy car. Well, all SUVs are, it's not just the Ateca that has that. We've got privacy glass in the back, silver roof rails, and again the silver accents running around the windows. Now lower down, and I don't fully get this, this is black. Well, it would be black if there wasn't some mud on it, but we've obviously got the silver, the paintwork, and then some black plastic, and that's supposed to give the impression of a higher ride height, supposedly. Not 100% convinced on that, but it still looks pretty good anyway. Then over the wheel arches as well, we've got this black plastic trim as well. Gives it the SUV feel. Look at that, these horses are really, this one here is really enthralled by the review. He wants a closer look. But we'll have a look at the rear now. Sorry about the dirt, it's pretty filthy. We've got the brand new Ateca badge there, which is in the handwritten font, very much like the layout has changed over to. Some more silver accents across here. Just underneath we've got the parking camera and the brand new LED rear tail lights. So it's a pretty smart looking car. Can have a look in the boot. That one's got bored. The rest of them, he looks quite interested in the boot. Anyway, let's have a look in here. So 510 litres of storage with the two-wheel drive. You go for the four-wheel drive on the other hand, that decreases it to 485 litres. Not a massive problem with this size. This is a good amount. I did a week shopping and got everything in there, no problem at all. We've got tethering points over here. We've got a ski hatch, so you can press that down and that opens up for longer items. And to release the seats, we've got, yeah, you release the seats here. You've got these puddle bits here, so that's pretty good. It doesn't come with a spare tyre as standard, but you can get one. So let's hop in the back, look from a passenger's point of view. Right, what have we got going on in here? So I've just folded up the ski hatch, which is also doubles as an armrest, and a couple of cup holders as well. We've got a nice mixture of suede and leather material here, and behind the seats I've just been driving, as you can see, just about enough room there, and then looking up here, plenty of headroom indeed. Overall it's very comfortable in here. Isofix as well, which is great, and down here we've got controls for the your temperature, and then we've got a couple of USB type C charging ports. Feet wise, plenty of room underneath. So there you go, that's the outside and the back of the Ateca. I want to get up there, so let's get going. Here we go. Drink bottle easily fits in the door holder. There we go. I think that black one likes this car. The others have got a bit bored and they're just deciding to eat each other, but never mind. I wasn't expecting to get some wildlife in here. But anyway, bye horses. Let's get on with the rest of this review. So I'm going to put the key, you don't actually need that, so I'm going to put it in this little cubby hole here, which is good for some storage, a couple of cup holders as well. We'll pop on seatbelt, and I've done this on purpose, honestly. It's got a red mark there, which means the boot isn't closed. I thought that was a very good example of... Yeah, he did as well. Blimey there. Very vocal. Give that a proper slam. Proper quality engineering there. So there we go. Now we can actually get going. So, foot on the brake, and we've got this red pulsing start button. We press that, and everything comes on to life. Now this is one thing, this is touchscreen, we'll go into this later. As you can see, I've been using it over the weekend, there's finger marks all over it. It's the only disadvantage with this type of screen. It's okay, we'd just sort of brush over that. Anyway, I've got my phone, I've got wireless charging, so you just pop it in this little rubberized area down here, and let's get going then. So this is the automatic, so pull back into drive, and that's it. So let's head on off and see what this car's like out on the open road. So bye bye horses, hello road. So we're going to start off with the general layout and feel of this cabin. Let's make sure we don't run this gentleman over. He's on a mission. So we'll start off with general layout. The biggest difference really between this and the previous one has to be this large infotainment system, or the control center really, because there's a lot of things that go on there. It's not just for your audio. Pretty much most of the car is done from here, but there are some physical buttons, which is fantastic. I did review the Seat Leon, which has the same screen but no buttons really at all. So that nicely leads me on to some real buttons, which are further down. We've got the ones for the climate control, and they are physical buttons. This is something I really do like. Rather than have to go around in the infotainment system and try and remember where things are, you have almost like a muscle memory. So I know that is temperature and speed. I know where they are after only a day, so that's fantastic. You can go in this infotainment system, or control center, I keep calling it that, the control system. You can go in there by pressing on this little button here, swipe across until you get to aircon. So I can press that, and it will come up with some various things I could do down here, but I actually want to do up there. Thank you very much. So we've got temperature, you can change, sort of just press them like that, very simple. Change where the air is blowing, so I might want it on me, and you'll see that when we go back to this screen, the red arrows come out. That's where these if I could say it, these correspond to these vents here. So simple, but and fan, but why would you use that? I'd use that. Is far quicker than going in here and doing that. So yeah, your choice if that's really what you want to do. Right, we've got some more people, and let's make sure we don't run anyone over, because that isn't good. Right, there we go, thank you very much. We can do some off-roading, we can wade through these huge puddles. But that's this area. There are other functions in here, which I'm sure we'll touch on a bit later on. But I want to go over to the instrument cluster in front of me, because this is quite different. In fact, this particular model has actually got the lower spec version of the instrument cluster. If you go for the top of the range models, this is completely digital. And on here, as you can see, we've got part digital, so it's a small screen in the middle, and then analog dials either side. We can customize this middle bit by using the controls over on the right hand side. So if I use this little arrow, we can scroll through these various menus, and then if you're interested in one particular area, you just go over to it, hover over and it goes to driving data, and eventually it will go in, and then using this wheel over this side we can scroll through what we can see. So I'm going to go through some of them, like speed, average speed, etc, etc. So you just keep scrolling through until something of interest appears there. I suppose, I mean, road signs is quite interesting, but that does lead us on to, where does that come from? Well, that's part of the technology pack that's included with this car. There's a lot of technology in here, and we're going to try and go through some of it. So to start with, that is traffic sign recognition. There is a camera up here facing forwards reading the road signs, and will change the speed that is displayed there. So in theory it means you won't be speeding. The next thing I really like about this is the active cruise control. Now it's best to show how this works by going around this roundabout, and we will go behind someone and activate it. So over here on the steering wheel on the left side, this will set my cruise control. So I press that, I think it's already activated. If I press it once, you'll see it says deactivated. So we've activated it, and now what I want to do is set the speed I want the car to maintain. So I hold down the set button, and that will then, as it says, set my speed. So if I hold that down, the speed I'm doing at the moment is 20 miles an hour, hold that down, and it will set my speed, as you can see down here, to try and keep me at 20 miles an hour. Now this is clever. As we go over here, and that decided it wasn't going to work. That was unexpected. What it should have done, this is the reason you need to rely on yourself and technology. Don't just switch off. What it should have done, and hopefully we'll do in a minute, let's reset that on. So we're doing 20 miles an hour, and what it should be doing, which it is now anyway, is keeping me a safe distance behind that car in front. See, I'm slowing down, I'm going to come to a stop because they've stopped, I'm not doing anything. Now they've moved off and I'm going. So that's really simple. That is great for motorway driving. In fact, most roads you can just put that on and let the car drive along itself. But as you just saw there, good example. Keep an eye on what's going on. The next thing we've got on here, in order to change the distance from the car in front, so you might want to be closer or further away, maybe in icy conditions you want to allow a bigger gap, you use the button over on the left, so this one here, it's like a car with a radar on it. How are we going to get on over here? Yeah, that's fine. So you can press that, and as you can see in here, it's changing those bars. So the more bars there are, the further it's going to keep me away from that car in front of me. So that's fantastic. So in terms of safety features as well, we've got quite a few in here. We've got brake assist, so that means if you're heading towards the back of someone at a rapid rate of knots and the car doesn't think you're going to stop, it will apply the brakes, where it will warn you first, then apply the brakes. Something as well which I hope we'll never use is collision detection. So if it thinks you are going to have a crash, it will pre-tension the seat belts, wind your windows up as well, and then if the worst does happen, you do have a crash and the airbags are deployed, it will then automatically call the emergency services and transmit your location so they can get there as quickly as possible. Another thing they have, which I don't know how it works, some voodoo magic, it's got something, the car keeps an eye on you to make sure it thinks you're awake. I don't know how it does that, but I know that it will warn you if it thinks you're probably not paying attention. It will then dab the brakes slightly to jolt you, to go, hang on, something's not quite right here. And if you still don't react to that, it will slow the car down, put the hazards on, and bring you to a complete stop. So that's great. These are features that we never want to use, but it's great the fact they've got them if you really do need them. Right, we're going to try take two with the lane assist. See if we can get that working. We've got some nice white solid lines, so we'll put the cruise control back on. So as I said, press set, and we'll set it to 40 miles an hour. So don't need to do anything. Let's make sure my lane assist is on. So I've pressed it. You can see lane assist is on. Let's go back to this view. So I'm hoping, as long as it's safe, I can wander over part of this white line in a minute, and in theory, cross fingers with this one, it will go orange down this side. So if I wander out slightly, come on, there we go. At last. And then it actually pulled the steering wheel back in line. So now I'm back on the straight and narrow, and we're going to head for some more interesting roads to put this thing through its paces. Got to remember, this car unique selling point was actually that it was a good driver's car. It's very unusual for a car in the compact SUV segment to actually be fun to drive. So that's something I hope it hasn't lost. In fact, we don't want to go that way. That's going into a garden centre. No, that's not very interesting in a garden centre. We'll find there is another road down here somewhere. So hopefully we can actually find that. Hope you don't mind the slight ramblings of a madman as he tries to find where he needs to go. So here we go. This looks like a road, not a garden centre. So now we're on some slightly more interesting roads. I want to put this thing through its paces a bit more. The previous model was supposed to be a bit of a driver's car. That was unusual for a car in this segment. So let's see how we get on. Well, up front we've got a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, putting out 150 PS and 250 newton meters of torque, 60 in 8.5 seconds, which is reasonable certainly for a car of this size and in this class. But how are we going to get on with these slightly more interesting roads? Well, we can change the driving mode. So there's a selector just down here, I think you can see it, and you rotate it round into different driving modes. So we're going to go into sport, we then pull a paddle, and now we're over to manual. So we can push on. Need to be a bit careful because these roads throw up unexpected surprises, such as horses and bikes and people. So we'll just be a little bit careful, well, very careful. So we'll go on, and there we go, that's the speed limit, so 60. That was pretty reasonable. The chassis on this I know is slightly firmer than many of its competitors, but that does give a better feel when driving it. Other cars might be softer, but they'll be more wallowy and maybe not quite as pleasant to drive. This, on the other hand, I'm really impressed with this. It's got a good turn of speed, picks up nicely. The manual gearbox on here is working well, or the manual side of the automatic is working well, so it goes up really quickly through the gears, down, down. There we go, so we're down in third, and yeah, that progresses well. That's really good. For a car in this class, as I said, I'm impressed with that. So now what we're going to do, we're going to head back to Hendy Sat in Brighton. I need to take the car back. It's been a couple of days with it. I've done a full review as well. So if you want things in more detail or a different review type than this, then please subscribe to the channel and you'll get alerted when that is uploaded. Or if this comes out afterwards, I'll put a card up there so you can go and watch that. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like this point of view review, I don't like saying it, please tell me and I'll do more like this along with the main reviews. if they really are a complete disaster, then I will put that down as a bad idea and carry on with normal videos. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.